Pakistani delegation, and we've been mandated by the government, by the Prime Minister, to advocate for Pakistan's position following the recent conflict with India. And Pakistan's, our mission is simple: we seek peace, and we'd like to pursue dialogue and diplomacy as the only path to said peace. As you're aware, on May 7th, India violated international law, violated Pakistani sovereignty, targeted civilian institutions, including religious worship places, our dam, water, energy infrastructure, killed innocent civilians, including women and children, in an attack. Their premise for said attack was a terrorist attack that took place in Indian-occupied Kashmir. Pakistan condoles and condoled with the victims of this terrorist attack. We have always and will always condemn terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Having said that, Pakistan was not involved in this terrorist attack. So much so that the Prime Minister of Pakistan, immediately after this attack took place, offered to India that Pakistan was ready and willing to be part of an impartial international inquiry into the incident. That was the level of our confidence, that our hands were clean, that we offered for any international partners to be involved and investigate this attack. That offer by Pakistan was rebuffed by India. And instead, India decided to be judge, jury, and executioner. Up until today, they've still not been able to name a single terrorist involved in the terrorist attack in Indian-occupied Kashmir. They've not been able to share with the international community. They've not been able to share with their own people, let alone with Pakistan, who was involved in this attack, what actions they've been taken against said individuals. Similarly, they have been unable to identify a single terrorist that they killed in their so-called attack on the terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan. We can, amongst our dead, only count civilians. Following India's incursion into Pakistani, well, not incursion into Pakistani territory, but their violation of our sovereignty, Pakistan reacted very responsibly. As a mature nuclear power, the Pakistani Air Force had 20 Indian aircrafts locked, and we could have dropped 20 planes. But the Pakistani Air Force restrained themselves. The military high command demonstrated their rationality and only targeted those 6 planes that dropped their load on Pakistan. We never were the aggressor. We always acted in self-defense. Dropping those 6 planes was an act of self-defense. Our strikes into India only took place after India fired missile strikes into Pakistani territory. International law and the United Nations the United Nations Charter provides for our right to self-defense. Following our confrontation, our war, the international community played their part. President Trump here in the United States and his team, led by Secretary of State Rubio, played their part. And we've managed to achieve a ceasefire with India. This is a welcome first step. But it doesn't go far enough. Unfortunately, today the world is a less safe place as a result of Indian actions in the early weeks of May. The threshold for full conflict between 2 nuclear-armed powers have come down, not gone up. The new normal that the Modi government wants to impose on the region is this: that if there's a terrorist attack anywhere in Indian-occupied Kashmir, or anywhere in India for that matter, without providing a shred of evidence, India's automatic reaction will be to go to war with Pakistan. So the law of reciprocity means that any terrorist attack in Pakistan, without a shred of evidence, a shred of proof, means we have to go to war with India. There are far more terrorist attacks that take place in Pakistan than take place in India. A war between India and Pakistan is not confined. The consequences of that war is not confined to India and Pakistan. A nuclear conflict has implications for the entire world, which is why it's all the more important for Pakistan to present its case, to urge the international community to continue to play its role, just as it did during the ceasefire, and prevail upon India to abandon its strategy and instead agree to engage in a comprehensive dialogue with Pakistan. We believe that such a dialogue would of course include the issue of terrorism. As most of you here today will be aware, Pakistan has a long list of complaints against India as far as terrorism is concerned. India is on the record in our communique from Sharm el-Sheikh that India has supported terrorist groups in Balochistan. Kulbhushan Yadav is an Indian officer who's been in Pakistan custody since 2017. He is admitted to Indian involvement, and he is living proof of India's involvement in supporting terrorist proxies within Pakistan. We believe that India and Pakistan should work together to fight terrorism. Any and all complaints India does have, they should share with the Pakistani side, and we should have the confidence that we can share our complaints with the Indian side and they will take appropriate action. It's only together that we'll be able to defeat this menace. They try and make a caricature about Pakistan. They try to present the case to their own people that all Pakistanis are terrorists. Their entire policy reeks of Islamophobia. They expected the international community to stand by and justify their actions when they wouldn't even share with their friends proof behind the terrorist incident that took place. And obviously at the root of all this, and a key component of any comprehensive dialogue with India, will have to be the issue of Kashmir. You can't just ignore the question of Kashmir. The people of Kashmir have a right to self-determination. They have a right to justice as enshrined under international law, UN Security Council resolutions. The longer we allow this wound to fester, the more we continue to ignore the plight of the people of Kashmir. As India increases its repression of the people of Kashmir, they will only provide more cannon fodder for those groups who wish to conduct terrorist acts within their country. And finally, obviously, a key component of any dialogue will have to be the Indus Water Treaty. A new and outrageous phenomenon or precedent that India is trying to set out of this crisis is their attack on the Indus River, their violation of the Indus Water Treaty, their weaponization of water. Just the threat to cut off Pakistan's water is a violation of the UN Charter. How can you claim to be targeting targeting terrorists, when you are cutting off the water supply for 240 million people? This is a dangerous precedent which we must not allow to be set. Today, if in the Pakistan-India context this is allowed, then there are lower riparians all across the world. And tomorrow, such a strategy will be used against them. If we want a composite or any form of dialogue to succeed with India, then it's all the more important that they reverse this stance. Because if we are to have a new dialogue, if we are to forge new treaties, then surely the old treaties must be abided by. Otherwise, the new treaties, the new agreements won't be worth the paper that they are written on. Pakistan is the party that seeks dialogue and diplomacy in pursuit of peace. It is India that is refusing to reciprocate. It is refusing to have a dialogue. And therefore, this delegation will, from tomorrow, be in DC. In Washington, D.C., we'll be engaging with various offices and the Parliament and different institutions over there to convey this point of view. And we call upon you to play your role within American society to convince the people of this country that it's not in their interest to let this status quo continue. India has pitched itself as a net security provider in the region. American tax dollars, your tax dollars, go to subsidize the Indian economy and the Indian military for them to be this so-called net security provider. And I ask you, what security is being provided when India acts like a rogue state? When India is trigger happy with nuclear war? The real net security provider would be for India and Pakistan to have peace. And it is incumbent upon all of us to do whatever it is in our power to push the case for peace. It is not in the interest of the people of Pakistan, and no matter what the government and the Prime Minister and the various delegations of India say, it is not in the interest of the people of India for India to pursue this policy. They will not be able to stop terrorism if this is the new status quo. If we haven't, between 2019 when the last incident took place and 2025, India and Pakistan had no conversation. So if you're not going to talk about terrorism, you're not going to share information about terrorism, you're going to be two nuclear armed countries, but you're not going to have any dispute resolution mechanism. That is a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for instability. And as I say, it's completely illogical. How will the Indian government explain to its people, that they are more safe today than they were before their planes fell and this war started? Unfortunately, wherever we look, there's crises and conflict and the world is distracted. But I believe that the Pakistani community here in the United States have an important role to play. You contribute to this society. You contribute to this economy. You participate in their democracy. And your voice will be heard. So we request from you to add your voice to ours and for all of us to work together to this end. I think that America is uniquely placed. They have a good relationship with Pakistan. They have a good relationship with India. President Trump, no matter what everybody's opinion may be, has had a commendable role throughout this conflict. He's spoken about peace. He's repeatedly endorsed the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. All of Pakistan welcomes the role of President Trump in this crisis, and perhaps President Trump is uniquely placed to play a role to establish permanent peace in South Asia. So this, by and large, has been our mission, has been our message. We've had positive receptions here at the United Nations. We've engaged with the UN Secretary General, the President of the General Assembly, the President of the United Nations Security Council, with the E10, which is the group of elected members of the UN Security Council, with the OIC, with individual para-reps from different countries. As far as Pakistan's case for peace and our desire to engage in dialogue and diplomacy, everybody has been very receptive. As far as Pakistan's stance on the Indus Water Treaty and the weaponization of water, everybody has been very perceptive. As far as Pakistan's transparency, Pakistan's credibility, and Pakistan's clarity vis-a-vis terrorism, and specifically in light of the Prime Minister's offer during this crisis, everybody has been very receptive. And as far as the issue of Kashmir is concerned, everybody knows that's the root cause. We understand it's difficult, but it's a conversation that must be had. We have a rather extensive delegation with us, and it's really benefited us throughout this process. Every delegation, everybody we've interacted with has complimented our delegation. As you're aware, Senator Faisal Sabzwari is from Karachi. Khurram Dastagir Sahab is the former Minister for Defence and Commerce and Foreign Affairs also. Ambassador Jilani Sahab हमारा foreign minister भी रहा है, foreign secretary भी रहा है, ambassador to the US भी रहा है. Hina Rabbani Khar Sahiba हमारा the former foreign minister, Musaddiq Malik साहब आजकल तो climate का वजीर है, इससे पहले पानी का और क्या पहले तेल थे, पेट्रोलियम भी थे. एम्बेसडर साहब, तो आज हम एम्बेसडर साहब के साथ अपना डीसी का कंपोनेंट शुरू कर रहे हैं. शहरीन रहमान साहिबा तो यहाँ का एम्बेसडर भी रही है, क्लाइमेट की वजीर भी रही है, आजकल मेरा पार्लिमानी लीडर है. सेनेट में सेनेटर बुशरा भट्ट साहिबा भी हमें इस ट्रिप में ज्वाइन कर रही है. एम्बेसडर तहमीना जंजुआ has been a real asset for us, the former Foreign Secretary, the first female Foreign Secretary of Pakistan. And inshallah ta'ala, jo main capitals hai, we started here in New York, we're going to DC, we'll go to London, we'll go to Europe, we'll go to Paris, we'll go to Brussels, Strasbourg type. Phir hum wapas Pakistan jayenge, and in the other rounds then our delegations will try and cover some of the other countries in which we want to engage with. We know that we have truth on our side, we have facts on our side, we have international law on our side. So ultimately, we are confident that inshallah ta'ala, Pakistan will be able to prevail in this current situation and convince all those involved to prevail on India that we must pursue dialogue and diplomacy is the only path to peace. I thank you all very much. I'd like an opportunity for anybody from my delegation if they wish to add something, if they feel we've missed something, and then we'd be very happy to answer any questions or thoughts that anybody here may have.